Week 15 waiver wires here, and finally we got that huge Blake Corum game that we've been talking about on this very program. But we got a special treat at the end of this episode where I asked Jakob, a Colts fan, what the hell is going on at the quarterback spot. So we'll save that for the end. But we're going to start with somebody we've been talking about also for the entire year, going back to about like week 1 or week 2. Harold Fannin, give us the update. I think David Njoku might be week to week at this point, but even with him on the field, it hasn't really mattered. Harold Fannin, Shedeur Sanders, hit me with Cleveland stuff.
Dude, our boy Harold Fannin, absolutely fantastic, legendary, week-winning, league-winning type of week. Yeah, a beauty to see. He had already surpassed Njoku by a pretty significant margin in routes the previous couple of weeks.
Yep.
So even this new change with the injury, it's definitely a plus, but like if Njoku comes back, you're still pumped to start Harold Fannin. He just looks absolutely fantastic. He's legitimately been their best pass catcher this season. If you don't like the way that he moves with his duck feet, or you don't think he's playing that many snaps because of his blocking, like that is a you problem. Yep. If there's a new coach in 2026, you can make your own decisions. But for this year, Harold Fannin is the dude. He's the engine of their passing offense. It's going to continue to be that way. And look, I'm not doing full Shedeur Sanders capitulation off of this week, but like he obviously looks infinitely better than he did in previous weeks. They let him dial up the volume in a pretty meaningful way. All that stuff's really, really encouraging if you're looking for upside from Harold Fannin Jr. So yeah, super, super excited about him.
Yeah, last week was 13.3 expected half PPR points according to my model. That was a season high. What's so cool about everyone knows how good he is yards after the catch wise, but there's so many like downfield plays that they're getting to. The big red zone catch where he kind of dunked on somebody. He really can run like the entire route tree, and it's hard to find that type of profile. He's going to be playing most of the snaps moving forward, and he pretty much already was. And they have nobody else to throw the ball to. Like Cedric Tillman was banged up once again. Jerry Jeudy's so inconsistent. So yeah, he's going to be a top 12 guy for me the rest of the way, and I think there's a chance he can be like a top 5, top 6 guy. Right now, he's on pace to have the tight end 5 season ever for rookie, according to half PPR.
Wow.
And he plays for the Cleveland Browns. He's a 3rd round pick. He's about to pass Aaron Hernandez, who was the only like day 3 or later player that's on this like top 13 overall list. So it's been a bunch of 1st rounders, 2nd rounders, a lot of like the best tight ends of all time. And then here comes Harold Fannin. It's like, I think it's like definitely okay to like be really aggressive if he for some reason was on the waiver wire.
Absolutely.
Maybe the other tight end we have to talk about is Mike Gesicki. My assumption right now with T. Higgins is I thought he had like multiple concussions in this last game.
Crazy they let him keep playing. Like
I couldn't believe it.
It was astonishing that they allowed him to keep playing in the game. Yeah. It's not that astonishing that he's now in the concussion profile,
right.
or protocol. Yeah, he had the initial one where he got checked. He somehow cleared protocol, God knows how. And then it felt like the entire rest of the game, he's like doing this.
Yes.
It's also like has like a couple concentration drops. It's like, wonder why.
Yeah.
The wind horse. And then, it was an incredibly bizarre experience to watch that game and just be like, really, they're letting T. Higgins just keep playing in this one? It was concerning. And so concerning. I assume he'll miss a week, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when there's like a second concussion, like in that short of a time frame, like sometimes it's just like just the same concussion like happened again, like to my knowledge about this. But either way, teams get very they should be very cautious with this one. And we've seen some players go to IR over this type of stuff. So we'll see. We'll learn more about T. Higgins. But why I had to bring this up, Mike Gesicki scores his touchdown. I mean, immediately when T. Higgins is in the blue tent, like the next play, Mike Gesicki's in the end zone. And like that's just like been the on-off splits with Mike Gesicki. So he's like kind of like a big slot to them. Obviously, Joe Burrow, I thought looked really good. So Mike Gesicki, like tight end 12, kind of moving forward, assuming T. Higgins is out. I think that like I'll have to like go through my actual rankings there, but I think that he could flirt in that kind of tier. What do you think?
It's a little tricky. So his routes were not good in the game that they were actually very good in the game Jamar Chase didn't play. He was up at, I think, 65% routes in the loss to New England. Then the win at Baltimore, he was down, I forget the exact number, but it was in the 40s somewhere. And it was basically equal routes to what Noah Fant ran. For what it's worth, yesterday, of course, as you mentioned, T. Higgins, missed very little of that actual game. But for whatever it's worth, he was basically equal routes again to Noah Fant. He did his damage just by running just 17 routes in the game. So I think there is probably, you're looking at like an upside of 60 to 65% routes if they get in trail script. and you're looking at an expectation of 40 to 50% routes if they're in neutral or positive script. The upside is really high because we've seen him have these spike weeks in this spot without T. Higgins before, but I do think the floor remains still quite low. I think people remember last year when he was basically just their wide receiver 2 in these weeks without T. Higgins. The route distribution hasn't been quite that favorable this year.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. He's an upside tight end too for me. You definitely want Harold Fannin way before you want Mike Gesicki, but he was like, to me, like the next biggest name here. Especially like Zach Ertz is out. I mean, I think Zach Ertz for Mike Gesicki, that makes a lot of sense. They were just real quick, Ben Sinnott, like, I mean, we've got like absolutely nothing from him. Is there anything with the Commanders that you'd want to change with Ertz out?
No, I mean, if for whatever reason, like, I don't know, you're in a start 11 dynasty league, you're in a 2 tight end league, you know, whatever, for whatever reason, if you needed to bring a Washington tight end into your life, I probably would go with Sinnott. Just because like the nominal backup there is John Bates, but that guy's just pretty much a blocker.
Yeah.
But like, I still think we're going to get probably a 3-way committee of Bates and Sinnott and that guy, Ben Yankoff. Which is
terrible last name. I mean, you don't want that. You just don't want that last name. No, that's not good. That's not good.
It's like so hard to have to unironically.
I mean, come on, Yank
on a YouTube show.
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I got teased about my name. I now love my name, and like, there's some little quips. Yank off. I mean, that is bottom of the barrel, man. We got to change that. What are we doing here? Oh God.
So yeah. I mean, look, if you're playing Ben Sinnott, and you're hoping to have a tight end one, you're going to be seeing more yank off probably than you want.
Yeah, you don't want to see any yanking off. I hope.
You're going to be seeing. He's going to be yanking off all over your screen.
Yeah. Okay.
For like a 35% route share.
All right, back on program. What about Andre Yoshivas? Let's say T. Higgins is out. Andre Yoshivas, I mean, I'm not even sure if he's any good. The Tinsley guy's kind of
I'm pretty sure he's not good.
Yeah, like Tinsley, Yoshivas. I mean, if you're starting these guys in the fantasy playoffs, I mean, you're beyond cooked. But anything else?
No, I mean, Yoshivas is just not a target earner.
No.
Last year he had plenty of chances without T. Higgins to earn targets, and generally he got alphaed by Mike Gesicki repeatedly. This year we saw like the 2 games, and it was the one game Gesicki outperformed him, and then it was the next game. I guess Tinsley didn't outperform him, but he got a gazillion targets, didn't do anything with them. Yep. I don't think that there's much on the bone there with Yoshivas. I guess if I had to take a shot, I'd probably do it at Tinsley, because I think he had like 9 targets. The game that T. Higgins didn't play. I thought he looked really bad. And like there was one where kind of didn't keep running on a go ball that should have been a touchdown. There was several, like, I wouldn't call them drops, but I'd call them 50-50 balls that he kind of turned into. Yeah. Where it's like, T. Higgins makes those 50-50 balls 80-20 balls, and Tinsley makes them 20-80 balls.
Correct.
So,
yes, correct.
I'm probably just into Jamar Chase, and Mike Gesicki would be the secondary guy.
Okay, cool. Let's go to some more exciting names here. We'll hit on some rookie wide receivers. Let's go Luther Burden to start. The Rome Odunze upstate, stress fracture in your foot. When I see that, I'm expecting that to be multiple weeks. So we'll see about that. Assuming Rome Odunze is out for this next week or so, what's the updated thoughts on Luther Burden?
Yeah, I mean, oh my God. I have the game on in the corner, and it's just like, what is happening? All right. My thoughts on Luther Burden. I've always been a huge Luther Burden fan, obviously. Was really excited about him this week. The route distribution continues to be extremely aggravating. Yeah. The hope was, going into this week, without Rome Odunze, maybe they actually consolidate more on Loveland and on Moore and on Burden, and you have kind of Komet and Zacchaeus splitting the third wheel snaps. That didn't happen. They basically kept splitting the tight end routes 50-50, and then they kind of went with this like 75-75-75 distribution of the wide receiver routes, and it was Zacchaeus, of course, who needed the biggest route bump. Burden still would be by a lot my favorite wide receiver to play if you're playing a Bears wide receiver, and I think he's absolutely in the wide receiver 3 conversation. DJ Moore used all of this increased opportunity to total, I think, -4 yards.
Yeah, it was not, I believe.
Because he's cooked. So I think Burden's totally startable. It's just frustrating that he can't get a 95% route rate, that no one on the Bears can seemingly get that. They're kind of Packers-ish in how they're distributing the routes right now.
Yep. Yeah, he just like in development, I would say for him. He can play a little bit on the outside, get him in the slot. Of course, there's like some manufactured stuff, but they just like do not want to give him like full-time snaps. So last week, 8.6 expected fantasy points for him. That puts him like on wide receiver 3 path. That was the most of the bunch. And Colson Lovin scored a touchdown. Luther Burden could rip off some explosives. So I think he's like wide receiver 3 flex opportunity there. What about Pat Bryant? This one's pretty deep leagues. Like, hopefully we're not starting Pat Bryant in the fantasy playoffs, but I know you guys don't go outside much, and there's some really deep leagues out there. But what about the other Broncos rookie?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I agree. It's more impactful for Troy Franklin than it probably is for Pat Bryant. Franklin, a few weeks ago, it was kind of emerging as, is he the new wide receiver 1 for this team? I was a little worried. You start to see the young player gets the increased role, but the efficiency is not really coming with it. How long is that role going to stick? And I've always been a little bit leery on Franklin's actual talent. It seems like it's not sticking. So they've made Bryant actually a priority out of the bye. He's been running the most routes with Cortland Sutton. Franklin's been down to 3rd on the team in routes. I don't think you're loving starting Pat Bryant. I think he is like a flex play, but he reduces basically him, Franklin, Ingram are all kind of out of the conversation.
Yep.
Sutton probably gets a bit of a boost because I do think Franklin is probably a better target earner. So Sutton goes back up into the wide receiver 2-3 borderline. And then Harvey is probably the Bronco you're most excited to start.
Yeah, I just think Troy Franklin is he is what he is. He's like kind of quick down the field. To give him some manufactured stuff, but he's more Marvin Mims than Cortland Sutton to me. And then Pat Bryant just got the big physical size to help with run blocking, can make some big contested plays, and then work over the middle a little bit better than Troy Franklin is. So I think it's a good point for Cortland Sutton. It's probably actually helpful because if you're getting like removing some of the gadget stuff and it's just Cortland Sutton versus Pat Bryant working down the field, obviously that's going to help Cortland Sutton in the long run. But I think that was worth hitting on. I think
it's Pat a Bryant weird combination. Like I think the Bryant is probably like a better all-around IRL football player.
Yes.
But then if you're also just asking like, who would I want my fantasy wide receiver to compete with for targets? It's also Bryant. Like,
yes.
Bryant is kind of like in that Romeo Dobbs mold where it's like probably underrated IRL, but you're more afraid of running routes against a Jayden Reed, in terms of target dominance than you are for a guy that they're probably not going to scheme that much up for.
Okay, so far, definitely it's Luther Burden, Harold Fannin, and the rest of the guys we talked about. Mild interest at best. This one, Blake Corum goes crazy. We've talked about Blake Corum, I think maybe every single episode that we've done this together. But he finally goes crazy. Now, nothing changed. Like, it's just a drive-by-drive rotation, and he just ripped off along the big plays here. Like, do you think there's anything that's going to change moving forward, or is it just going to be Kyron's going to start, the next drive in comes Blake Corum, and when the Rams are hanging 30, 40 points on everybody, either one of these guys can have big games?
Yeah, I mean, his workload continues to meaningfully increase. It used to be every 3rd drive. Even this week we saw they had a really long first drive. Kyron got a lot of carries. Corum enters right around the 25-yard line on their first drive after Kyron had already gotten a bunch of carries. So they're continuing to trust Corum more and more, and most of the time he's paying them off for that. He's looked really excellent the last 2 weeks. Kyron also kind of got banged up 2 weeks ago in that game, returned. He's probably fine, but it wasn't that shocking to see Corum get even more volume than usual. Yeah, I think they trust these guys to do a bit of everything. Kyron's still going to be the one who's going to run more routes, but in terms of just carry distribution, like Corum has chances at goal line carries, as you just saw. You just kind of converted them a little bit better pace in this week, and he's going to probably project for 40 to 45% of the carries, honestly, in most games. The way that the points had shaken out to this point, and the way that we've been projecting them, was, I think, still stating too large of a gap between what their actual roles are predictively. I view Kyron as more of a high end to mid RB2, and Corum is squarely a flex. But he's, in my view, if these roles stick as they've been very recently, he's like 3-1 odds to outscore Corum in any given week.
Yeah, I think it's well put. I think after all, you get like the starting running backs. Blake Corum is like right there with who I'd rank the highest for like the RB2s. Like there's a couple other names in there, so you can put in like a 12-team flex. I think that Blake Corum would make some sense, but that may be more consolation. If something happens to Kyron Williams, Blake Corum will be in the mix for top 5 fantasy running backs on the week. So that's why he's the primary pickup here. Jaylen Wright, we'll go on this one quickly. Devon Achane, it sounds like he just like fell on the football, has like some like bruised ribs or something like that. It sounds like that he wanted to play last week, but they were up on the scoreboard. Every game matters for the Dolphins right now. There's like still some chance that they can make the playoffs. So I'm guessing Devon Achane's gonna play next week. But let's say he does miss. What's the latest on Jaylen Wright and not Ollie Connolly, Ollie Gordon?
Ollie Connolly. Shout out Ollie Connolly.
He is great.
Yeah, I don't know when this happened, but Ollie Gordon just apparently lost his entire job to Jaylen Wright, like overnight.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't put that in the newspaper. I was unaware of it. But yeah, I mean, for most of the season, it's been Gordon that's been the RB2 complement. Wright has had like weird games where he's mixed in a little bit more. Most of that was in and around Gordon picking up his own kind of mild injury on that Thursday night game. So like, had you told me last week, HN goes out, what's the carry distribution? I honestly would have said I thought it would be like 65-35 Gordon. It was not. It was like 90-10 Jaylen Wright. Mm-hmm. How sticky that is, I have like honestly no clue because it's so out of nowhere. But yeah, if HN misses, Wright is like very clearly the priority out of the two, just given what we just saw. And yeah, I mean, at this point in time, if you're the HN owner and you like have any way of getting Jaylen Wright,
might
to
as
secure
well
your spot, like just blow the wad on it, right? It's going to be literally week 15. So yeah, definitely he's the guy.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just as simple as like Jaylen Wright's closer to Devon Achane than Ollie Gordon is. And right now, if you watch the Miami Dolphins, like they're getting out to space, they're pulling linemen. They've got a really athletic center and left tackle, and they get those guys moving. And I wonder if like Jaylen Wright's just like a better scheme fit for what they found success in on running to the perimeter, just because he's so much faster than Ollie Gordon. So yeah, I think if you are the HN owner, you're the one that's supposed to be picking up Jaylen Wright. I think that the other teams should probably look elsewhere, because I think it's more likely than not that HN's going to play
for sure
this next game. Okay, I think that's it for the running backs. Pretty mild week in terms of injuries there. So let's go over to the quarterbacks. Let's do the rookies first. Let's go Tyler Shough. I went back and watched that game. A lot more zone read than I was expecting Tyler Shough to get, and he was making them pay. And then obviously he had the scramble play. But like when I start seeing zone read and he's pulling it and he's making guys miss, like all of a sudden I get pretty interested for fantasy, at least in like super flex deep leagues if you got injuries or whatnot. But what's like the latest with the rookie?
I mean, I've been getting Shough curious. It's been 2 straight weeks I've played Tyler Shough in the Spy.
Ooh.
So like I'm getting a little bit shucked in, if you will.
Of course.
And I think like he's been way better than I thought that he would be. Way more athletic than I thought that he was. And I've liked what Kellen Moore has done all year long. And yeah, I'm interested. I mean, I think they're in the process of trying to figure out if he's their guy for 2026 or not. They're giving him a lot of opportunities, especially after losing Alvin Kamara. This week they wound up winning, but 2 weeks ago they let him completely sling it in negative game script. And this week they start trotting him out as this runner. So you kind of have two paths, I think, to have reasonable fantasy upside. Yeah, I would view him as honestly like a mid to high end QB2 moving forward. Totally viable streaming play. So yeah, I'm pretty into Tyler Shough.
Yeah, my comp for him is like Ryan Tannehill's kind of the upside comp, because like in a straight line, Tyler Shough, like he ran a 4.63 at the 40-yard dash. Like that's like pretty fast. Now he was never used like that in college, probably because he had like 4 straight seasons of like going on like the college version of injured reserve. So maybe the Saints are like, well, guess what, bud? If you want this starting job, you got out there, you hit that zone read and tell us what you got, or we're going to be moving on. So I expect it to keep going. They absolutely need him to use his legs, but I think he's played fine enough. And all of a sudden, like the Saints, I think have the 5th overall pick. So this is one that we got to kind of monitor. But I think keep throwing stuff on Tyler Shough's plate. I'd be curious to see where it ends up. All right, Shedeur Sanders time. When the first quarterback, I mean, how many times did you see this tweet? 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, first rookie quarterback to ever do it. Do we need to change our opinions about Shedeur Sanders moving forward for fantasy purposes or otherwise?
I mean, like, honestly, I would say probably not for me. I mean, he looked really good. He threw some beautiful balls. I went back and read through like some of my content on him in the spring. And like there were positives in there. When he has time to throw, when he gets rid of the ball, he is actually legitimately very accurate. Dealt well with pressure, or at least way better with pressure in this game than he has at any point really previously. So we're seeing very legitimate improvement. And the one nice thing from college was like he did come from a system that required him frequently to throw 40, 50 passes a game. We know he can withstand volume. Did that in a huge way in this game. Had a nice mobile touchdown as well. So yeah, I mean, overall, really, really encouraging. I thought people like gassed him up kind of unseriously after that first win against the Raiders, where I thought he really didn't do much.
Right.
This was by a mile the most impressive of the 4 performances so far. You know, and very earned optimism. I wouldn't view him as like a top 18 quarterback yet moving forward. I think I need to see that again against a better opponent. But yeah, it's super, super encouraging for Shedeur. His odds of starting in 2026 went from like, I would have thought like 1% before this game to like, I don't know, 10%, 15, 20?
Sure.
Something in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the first game was miserable for him, and then this last game was like legitimately pretty encouraging. So yeah, like a couple like really bad plays, like the interception. There's another like near interception, or should be interception, but otherwise he was like not drifting in the pocket all that much. Was throwing the ball down the field. He's always been very accurate, and then he picked his battles on when to scramble a little bit better this week than previously. And there's maybe some times in college where he would like just get to the check down too quickly, and I think we were seeing that a lot in the pros too. And then this game, he's just like more decisive throwing the ball down there. So like we plays like that, then I'm a lot more encouraged by the situation. They lost another offensive lineman, so he's going to be without, I think it's his center, his right guard, and his right tackle. Moving forward, you're not going to play the Tennessee Titans every single week, so I don't know what the schedule is coming up. But if he scrambles, they're going to drop back a bunch.
The Bears this week, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's like another like fine enough opponent here. So he's no longer going to be like a bottom 5 fantasy quarterback for me. Like going into the week, he's definitely played better recently, and hopefully
rank him out of Brett Rippon.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to Brett Rippon's counterpart here in a second, but yeah, best game Shedeur's played by far compared to that Raiders game where they won. This game was way, 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 way better. All right, I could not believe this. The notification I got in the middle of the day today. I mean, are we really going to be picking up a grandfather in the middle of the season to save the season? And then because it's a fantasy show, is there any way in the deepest super flex leagues people are hovering over the Phillip Rivers button right now? Do you dare hit it? What are the chances he can pass a physical?
I mean, I have no idea if he could pass a physical. I'm begging Carly Gordon Ursay to rig the physical to allow him to pass whatever he needs to pass. If his hamstring is even touching the bone, you know.
Yeah, grade 2, you're in. Get your ass in there.
Like grade 2 easily you can play with a grade 2. I mean, what's it gonna do? It's gonna hurt his mobility. You know. So yeah, it's not where I wanted to be 48 hours ago, but it's a lot better than where we were 24 hours ago.
Is this like actually the best? Like you're rooting for this like easily. Sincerely? This is the best case scenario.
Very sincerely. It's the best. Okay. Well, let's look through the options. Okay. Like 1, we build a time machine. We have Daniel Jones not tear his Achilles.
That would be nice.
If we're ruling that out, the realistic options are 1, everybody keeps talking about Anthony Richardson. Guys, it's not happening. No. He looks like Harvey Dent right now. Okay.
Yes.
He killed himself with a rubber band. He doesn't have like all the reporting is like vague, but they're basically just like, if you've looked at his face, he's not playing football. It's like,
you're out for the year. I saw him. You're out. He's done.
Yeah.
Not great.
So it's not happening. It's not happening this week.
Right.
He's not even going to practice. I don't think it's happening this year. Riley Leonard, who is like, you know, basically just Dylan Gabriel with like, I think a little more mobility and maybe like, I don't know.
Well, he's hurt too. On top of it, like whatever you think of it, he's also hurt.
Good.
Yeah.
So he's not even good, and he's also hurt. The only other quarterback they have right now on the practice squad is Brett Rippon, who is like horrendous, like one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. Like the last time I think we watched Brett Rippon, he had like a 1-game moonlighting with the Rams. That disaster year for them, he was horrible. Mm-hmm. And then prior to that, he was with I think the Broncos. And he played like a Thursday night game against the Sam Darnold Jets, and it was terrible, downright awful. Yeah. So, like, those are the options. You know, people are saying, "Oh, the Bengals should cut Joe Flacco." That's not happening. So, like, actually available quarterbacks. It's like I don't know. Is Ryan Tannehill available? Like, I assume
I was going to say, available,
how about he was available? Someone would call.
Did you if you were in charge for the Colts? Would you call Andrew Luck first? Who's like Andrew Luck? Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. I mean, how far back are we going here? Are you calling Troy Aikman?
You're definitely calling Andrew Luck. He's saying no.
He's blocked. He's blocked the number.
I think I would call Rivers before Ryan.
Okay.
I think I'm calling Rivers before Ryan. And Rivers is interested. We know that. Kay Adams asked Matt Ryan if he was interested. I think he said no.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's retired.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. What about Hayden Winks' brother, the really fit guy?
Now we
run
can
so
go
read?
there. Yes, he was a junior college quarterback. He can play. He can spin it. He can definitely spin it. What about Jeff Saturday? You can call him. I mean, there's infinite guys. Indianapolis. Mark Sanchez. I think last time I seen Mark Sanchez, he was in Indianapolis, right?
Here's the thing about Philip Rivers. If I can actually be serious about this, right? Obviously, his relationship with Chris Ballard, he played for the team before. Shane Steichen was also his offensive coordinator all the way back in the Chargers when he played for Anthony Lynn's Chargers. Shane Steichen took
when
over
I was an intern
mid-season.
there. By the way, I was also a Charger at that time. Not even joking.
Okay,
continue.
All right, so you and Philip Rivers both have complete knowledge of the Shane Steichen offense. You can come in and run that.
Correct.
Yeah. Have you passed any of that over to your brother?
I can give him a phone call.
Okay. All right. So no, I mean, legitimately, if you're telling me, look, here's the saddest part of this. I live in Vancouver. So I obviously if they're playing in Seattle, that happens once every 8 years. I'm going to be at the fucking game on Sunday. So I already have tickets. I can't resell them now. My options
might be better. You seen Philip Rivers? I mean, that might be, the tickets might go up.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're saying I have to watch one of Brett Rippon, Briley Leonard on a sprained knee, Philip Rivers, or I don't know, whoever the other door is, Rivers at least is fun.
Okay. Yeah. It'll be a good story.
Yeah.
It'll be a good story.
Phil.
I couldn't believe it. I thought I kept checking the Underdog NFL account to make sure I didn't get sent out or something ridiculous like that. But no, it's actually happening. We'll see if he can pass the physical.
It's always good when Ian Rappaport puts in his tweet, "This is real."
It is. This is real. Oh, I'm sure when he got the text message, he probably had to call him back. Are you actually? I'm not actually tweeting this until you pick up the phone and tell me it's for real. Unbelievable. By the way, Philip Rivers, when I was interning, because all of his children, all 8 of them, were in San Diego. Every single day he had a professional driver that would drive him up in the morning and then drive him back, and he had this big van, and that he would watch film in the van. I'm sure that he had different film watching stuff back there, but every single day in this big old van, all of a sudden you see a bunch of kids up there. But that was 7 years ago. I cannot believe it, but I agree with you. It'll be it's the most entertaining outcome. That's the most likely outcome, and I'm here for it.
And I mean, here's the thing, they actually still have a reasonable mathematical outcome at the playoffs, especially if the Chargers lose tonight. We're recording this mid Monday Night Football, but they beat the Chargers head to head. So if you wind up in a spot where it's a 2-way tiebreaker, them and the Chargers are at 10-7. They win that tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So this week, I assume Phil Rivers won't be ready to play this week, but who knows? He knows the offense.
What is he doing in a week that he's going to get more in shape? I mean, what is this? What's happening in this week?
Let's call this. Let's even call this a loss. It's the hardest of the 3 games at Seattle. But 3 other games: home to the Niners, home to the Jaguars, at the Texans. Are any of those good spots? No. But
Daniil Hunter is going to. I mean,
possible?
Did Philip Rivers not just watch what happened to Zach Ertz? Zach Ertz can be right now. He can be in Costa Rica on the beach, and all of a sudden now he has to rehab in his retirement. Does Philip Rivers understand what's at stake here?
Dude, Rivers is not going to get hit. He's coming in with an agreement that ball is coming out in 2 seconds or less every single time. You think Aaron Rodgers is avoiding hits? Wait until you see Philip Rivers.
This is true.
I mean, Philip Rivers barely got hit the last year he played in Indianapolis. He was he was chucking the ball down to Nyheim Hines 86 times. You'll never have seen a faster time to throw than if Philip Rivers plays real NFL games this year.
Okay, well, I think that's that. It's an unbelievable thing. I'm hoping it does happen here. Don't even ask me where to rank these Colts guys depending on who the quarterback is, but it's all between you and God.
JT's gonna catch 11 passes.
Yes. Okay, maybe that's the angle here. That's the angle. Okay. We'll be back. I think probably just one more week. Then week 17's in the middle of Christmas week and stuff. So we'll see about that. But we'll be back tomorrow. Stats versus film. Jacob's got writing elsewhere. Remind everybody where you can go read your work.
It's all I'm thinking about thinking. JakobSanderson.substack.com. You can find stuff there. And yeah, we'll see you here next week for the last one.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Like, please go enjoy his writing. It's elite stuff. Promo
We're
code the
breaking
show.
down a lot of Phil Rivers tape this week.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We'll be out of here. See you guys. Peace.